Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing a few updates surrounding the upcoming waves of Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 4 sets, more specifically the January and the March 2026 waves. Like I've said, this news is kind of unfortunate in my opinion, definitely not the greatest news ever, and this primarily involves several key characters from Ninjago Dragons Rising that will apparently be missing from the upcoming waves of sets, again for Dragons Rising Season 4. So in my opinion, definitely some not so great sounding news here. But of course, these are early leaks. Take everything with a very heavy grain of salt. Things are indeed subject to change, and they probably will change. Early leaks for Ninjago sets and LEGO sets in general should never be taken with 100% certainty. Things are indeed subject to change. Keep that in mind as we continue throughout today's video. Like I said though, we have some news, some updates that aren't really all that great. Starting with this one here, some key characters are missing from the January and March 2026 sets. There will be no Wildfire, Frack, or Lord Ras in any of the January and March 2026 sets. However, they could return with updated looks for the summer 2026 sets. So yeah, going back to our list of Season 4 sets here, apparently none of these sets will include Wildfire, Frack, or Lord Ras. None of these sets for January 2026 will include them, nor will any of the March 2026 sets, which honestly the March wave definitely makes more sense considering that that wave as of right now is apparently comprised of pretty much all 15th anniversary sets. None of these characters have anything to do with the 15th anniversary of Ninjago, so them being absent from the March wave isn't really that big of a deal, but I would say some of them being missing from the January wave, that's more of a big problem. Especially in the case of Lord Ras, because he is, all things considered, probably going to be the main villain of Dragons Rising Season 4, at least given all of the information and rumors that we've heard so far. So the main villain of the season being absent from the season's first wave of sets, again, seems like a very weird choice from LEGO. If anything, Lord Ras probably should just be included using that same minifigure that we've been getting time and time again. Sure, it's definitely not the most exciting inclusion, but having your main villain be in the sets, I feel like that's a very crucial thing that LEGO should probably try to do. Then again, if he's not in the January wave, I think there's a much higher chance that in the summertime, we could see Lord Ras return to the Ninjago sets for the Dragons Rising Season 4 Part 2 wave. At that point, it would be a full year since Lord Ras has been in a Ninjago set, so they probably should include him again. Now with that being said, I would love to obviously see some kind of updated look for this character. I think he is in desperate need of a new design, and what do you know, the show just gave him a new look with the skeleton armor, which I think is probably the best that the character has ever looked, and that design is quickly becoming one of my favorite Dragons Rising character designs ever. So I would love to see that design as an actual minifigure. That would be the perfect thing to include in the summertime after again having a full year of no Lord Ras minifigures. And if not the bone design, I would love to see the traditional red minifigure done in pink, pretty much to replicate how Lord Ras is seen in the show most of the time, with this design ultimately not being powered up, if that makes sense. I feel like we desperately need a depowered version of this design as an actual minifigure. Either way, would love to see Lord Ras return in the summer 2026 wave, because I think that just makes sense, considering again he is the main villain of Season 4 of Dragons Rising, and I would love for him to have an updated design. In terms of other characters that are apparently missing from the January and March 2026 sets, we have Wildfire, which honestly is not that big of a deal. However, it does kind of suggest then that Wildfire will once again not be receiving a new design in the show, or maybe she will be and her minifigure, her updated look, will just be included in the summer wave, maybe just like Lord Ras. However, again, if Wildfire remains in her same design that we've seen since Season 2, again, that would kind of be a little unfortunate, but if that's the case, obviously her not being in the sets isn't really that big of a deal. That design is such a common minifigure, I don't really think it being absent from more sets is that big of a deal, since it is pretty cheap on the secondhand market as well, and it is still actively in many sets that are still on the shelves to this day. So honestly, again, if that design is sticking around for season 4, I don't think we need it recycled in sets again. But again, it is still unfortunate that she's not going to be receiving a new costume apparently, but again, maybe she will receive one, but the minifigure itself will not be released until the summer wave. Could always be the case. In terms of Frack not being in any of these sets, I think that is a very big loss as well, because I was really hoping that the minifigure for Frack that we saw in the summer 2025 wave, you know, the one that was exclusive to one overpriced $100 set, I was hoping that that minifigure could possibly be included in more sets for 2026, making that minifigure for Frack easier to come by. Because like I said, right now it is exclusive to a $100 set, which is already very overpriced, and on the secondhand market, Frack's minifigure is definitely not cheap, so was kind of hoping that design could be in more sets. However, again, this could always mean that maybe Frack will not receive a new design for season 4, and maybe that minifigure could be in the summer wave. Alternatively, like Wildfire, Frack could be getting a new design that will also be saved for the summer wave. Either way, Frack will probably be in the summer 2026 wave alongside Wildfire. I do hope they do get new designs. I've always been of the opinion that every single season the ninja should get new designs. I mean, for a long time there, we were begging for Eren and Sora to get updates that they desperately needed, so I feel like if anything, everyone should get a new design every single season, but ultimately, again, that's just not how Dragon's Rising has been going so far. And I don't really think this needs to be said, but obviously the characters being absent from the sets does not mean that they won't be in the show. Again, Lord Ras was absent from the summer 2025 wave of Ninjago, yet he was still very much in Dragon's Rising Season 3 Part 2. Just because characters are absent from the sets for that respective season does not mean they won't be in that season, as we've seen many examples before. But with that being said, everyone, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking out this video. Again, definitely not a great bit of information here. Definitely some unfortunate news, again, if all of this does turn out to be final and true. Like I said, take everything that you heard in this video with a very heavy grain of salt. Early leaks are very much always subject to change. In the meantime, leave all of your thoughts down below in the comments. What exactly do you think about some key characters like Wildfire, Frack, and Lord Ras being missing from the January and March waves of 2026 Ninjago sets? Do you think it means anything? Do you think this is that big of a deal? Leave all of your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.